Howdy folks, welcome to the Sapiens Road Show. Your host, Dan Davis here, looking more and more like Bigfoot. So I am in a completely different meadow, and I'm going to show only in certain directions because I don't want you to know where this is, but it's not the same meadow that I was baiting. This is a completely different meadow. As the crow flies, it's about less than a mile away from, about a mile almost, from the other meadow. Okay, so like I was saying, there's a series of meadows here, and I showed you the one bower. I'm calling them a bower, like the bowerbirds. I don't know what else to call them. The brush shelters. Okay, so I'd hike down to this area that I'm going to talk about later, called Times Square, because that's where Ragosa found the Bigfoot trail. And so I walked past that, and I was coming towards the direction, another direction, and all kinds of. I saw 3 bears. I think they're like yearlings or whatever, right? Because they were afraid of me. 2 of them went up a tree, the other one took off running. But they were pretty small, so just in case Mama Bear was around, I made some noise and talked to him a little bit, and then headed away from him. So anyway, I was wandering around down in this area, around the meadow, getting creeped out at this other part of the meadow, because it makes this, I don't know, kind of a Y shape. It's kind of hard to describe, separated by trees here and there. So I heard noises again. I thought it might be the bears, so I was yelling at the bears, hey, I'm still in the neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. So I'm working my way down, like, this direction, okay? Got to the meadow, and it's like, I know where I'm at this point, and I didn't really want to go those directions, so I thought, generally, Mr. Bigfoot's trails are the easiest to follow. The most logical, and they don't go under like, trees and stuff like that, like game trails do. So I started following, went up, turned into a game trail that did go into trees, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. So I turned around and I looked, and it's just out of sight, right around here. I just looked for bent over saplings. It's that simple, folks. I just looked for a bent over sapling and found one. It's right there. And so I walked to it, and sure enough, I started seeing others and others and others. And again, this is this is forest, but people don't come over here there's tons of firewood around here. They don't need to come over here and knock saplings down. So here I come walking up on this thing, and hello, look at this. It's another bower structure. Okay, a branch got bent down. These things at one time would have been piled up. Maybe they take them down during the off season when people are around so that they don't look so obvious. I don't know. But again, look at all the. I'm telling you, this is another bower right here. And just like the one near our campsite, this one is also only about 10 yards from the meadow, which makes perfect sense. They hang out in the meadow, especially like winter or whatever. They get the sun, maybe sun gaze, I don't know. And then when they hear noise or whatever, they just melt back into the woods. So it makes perfect sense. And it seems like, where was it? I think down there. It looks like they might have started one. That's maybe a marker towards this one. Because keep in mind, these guys are like the best outdoorsmen in the world. They don't need markers, trail markers. What they do need is to pinpoint where exactly the trail is quiet. Oh, here was another one. Yeah, okay, so so then I worked my way down this way. And again, I'm just looking for bent over saplings. And there you go. Here's some more. These things, if they've been propped up properly. Oh, and talk about gateway for Mr. Bigfoot. First of all, notice the trail is flattened down, and that was not me. I went that way and whatever. But actually I went over that way. But I mean, this is freshly matted down. This is not like last year's matting down. But you can see, look at this. We can go right through here, just like that, without really hitting anything. And like the other one, it kind of serpentines around. It doesn't go when it's coming like this near where people would be. Look at these big prints here. It really does this labyrinth thing, so it doesn't look like a straight game trail or something that people want to follow. This looks like it could have been another one right here too, or this could just have been the marker one. But at any rate, I've started to ramp up my defenses as much as possible because at least it'll make noise. Like mountain lions, like I said, this probably won't do much. This is way better than that. It won't do much. I mean, Mr. Bigfoot could probably rip my arm off before I could get him, but this is what a machete, a knife, a year and a half of karate, a year and a half taekwondo, 2 years in the army, a year and a half National Guard, and all kinds of weird things all over the world means squat. Because this is creepy, man. Oh boy. Okay, well, I still got to find a trail back to my campsite and then cover 2 miles on the road, so I should probably get going. So, Mr. Bigfoot, anything to add? Whoa. Mr. Bigfoot, anything to add? No, but there's a squirrel going off that way. I would not be surprised at all if they were looking at me right now. Because I heard a squirrel going off down over that way from the SCAN, the Small Critter Alarm Network that the forest is equipped with. But he's quiet, because then it gets dead quiet. The alarms will go off and then it gets dead quiet. And that's when it gets creepy. Because as long as it's kind of like when the sound of children playing to me is like one of the best sounds in the world, because it's like everything's alright. When they're crying, it's like, oh. But here in the forest, the best sound is when everything is like normal. When everything gets quiet, it's like, okay, what's going on? Anyway, like I said, I need to get going here. So, Dan Davis signing off, and again, for the time being, please stay away. If you know where I'm at, please stay away, because I don't want to spook these guys. I want to make contact with them. I want to talk to them. And I found trails. Here's another. Today's Friday, right? Oh man! As long as I got battery. Okay, let me just walk around here. You can see some of the damage while I talk, because this morning something weird happened. Okay, so there's this neighborhood deer, and I've pictured her on other videos that I'll put on later. You can see the trail flattened down here, because again, their trails go around the periphery of meadows. They don't go across right there like that horse trail does. See where it's flattened down right here? Then go over the big stuff, just like that, Whoa. And so on. So this morning, this deer, like normal, she comes up, she smells where I normally take my morning leak, and she's working her way towards me, which is strange, because normally she goes around like in an arc, but she's coming towards me, and she's looking up the hill, and she's looking at me, and she's sniffing the ground, and ears big, real big, like, and looks uphill, looks at me, sniffs the ground, takes a couple steps towards me, not in an arc around away from me, but towards me, and did that about half the distance, which was there was only about 30 yards between us when we started. So she came towards me about half the distance, and then at some point just bolted. She smelled something right up, not up the ridge in front of the campground, but right behind my campsite. And I've been checking it out. I baited it, and I looked at the bag this morning, and it looked poofed open like this, like something had stuck its hand in there, and just like Ragosa said it would, and it's on a log. I'll show it at some other point, but it's on a log where if anything, like a squirrel or something messed with it too much, it would slide off. So it's like something got into this thing without the thing getting, and there's still things in there, things like squirrels and whatever. They'll take all the stuff that But anyway, so something's around up there. So that's just. Is that you, Mr. Bigfoot? Hawk. Okay, I'm officially creeped out. I'm gonna get out of here. Mr. Bigfoot, if that's you, I'm going back to my campsite. You can meet me back there. I was playing guitar last night. I think they like that. Anyway. Okay, one creeped out Dan Davis signing off. Bye, folks.